It's always you to this, you to that, all about the blessed. But tell me, what about the queen? What's up guys, Open here we are to do a nice quick little breakdown / discussion on how to buff Rika Orimoto, the queen of curses, so she stands a chance against the mighty, the powerful, the well, we won't call him that last one, but the king of curses, Ryomen Sukuna. And it's gonna take a lot. But we got a lot to talk about, so let's not waste any more time and let's hop right into it. Editing me, ready, 3, 2, 1, 0. Go. What's up guys? That guy with a... Why does this always happen? Why does this... Where do you go? You vet you're my desk. Where do you... Jeez. Hide under the computers and everything. Pencil here. Fun fact, I do happen to have it on me and keep it on me at all times. And another fun fact. I know this seems kind of weird, considering, legally speaking, what Rika Orimoto is, especially in the case of what she is now, is what Yuta Okkotsu has on him and keeps on him at all times, as you can see by the epic summoning of Rika Orimoto at the end of 248 right here. And of course, we see Sukuna acknowledge the fact that the queen has arrived. But I'm personally in the camp that Rika, she gonna need a little bit more than that. Now don't get me wrong, it's already seemed like she's gotten a quite sizable buff, and by sizable buff I mean sizable, like she's never this big. Especially unmanifested. But maybe just in general, like, I don't know, she seems massive here. Like, remember, Sukuna's no small guy. Bro's like 8 feet tall. 8 feet tall, 300 pounds, pure muscle, 2 mouths, 2 faces. But, like, the other thing, 4 arms. Definitely just 4 arms. Nothing else is doubled on Sukuna. Nothing. Nothing at all. In fact, things may be unified into a... Regardless, with that being the case, Sukuna's a really big guy, so to see Rika kind of just palm him is very, very impressive, especially for unmanifested Rika. All this is really, really, really... I don't buy it. I really don't. I don't see the vision. At least the Rika that we know of, even with this more massive Rika, I simply do not see Rika Orimoto standing a chance as we knew her, and as she appears to be right now, against the king of curses. Of course, there's that ever-famous and ever-haunting, for a lot of Yuta fans out there, myself included, statement that Gege made a few years back, talking about Rika versus Sukuna, and how Gege kind of just instantly said, when asked who would win, Sukuna, or who was stronger, Sukuna. He didn't even give an elaborate, he just said Sukuna. But of course, you know, there's hope and cope in the sense that maybe that was a fresh Sukuna, a fresh prime Sukuna. Fresh body, no missing RCT, no steaming hit, nothing. That's just completely fresh Sukuna with no issues at all. So of course, I was about to state a verbatim lie. Let me not even state the verbatim lie. I still don't think that's enough. I still don't even think the fact that Sukuna is this worn down is enough, because once again, I need to remind you, it's this Sukuna. Not even, I can't even say it's this Sukuna. It is a variation of 20-Finger Sukuna that was the weakest variation of him that we've ever seen that one-tap Satoru Gojo. Now, don't get me wrong, there are definitely statements about Rika dating back, and I mean, when I say dating back, I mean dating way back to Volume 0 about Rika being powerful enough on her own to possibly push Satoru Gojo to his limits and even risk his very I don't buy him. I really don't. Even in the context of JJK 0, like, I don't buy that. Of course, you know, the narrative of Gojo Satoru, the narrative of Yuta Okkotsu, the narrative of a lot of characters change from the shift of 0 to the main story. Even characters like Geto's narrative shift entirely, if not get more elaboration on by the time of the main series. So who knows? Maybe that's just a JJK 0 thing where Rika could have pressed Gojo, but I don't see the vision. And once again, even if I did see the vision, that was implied to be a fully manifested, absolute cursed spirit, crazy, next level wild Rika that Yuta had no control over. That was the embodiment and mass of endless amounts of cursed energy. I'm not going to say that the Rika we have now is not that entirely. Like, clearly there is still some variation. But the same Rika that, you know, could supposedly push Satoru Gojo to a high diff, if not extreme diff fight, according to JJK 0 Gojo, is currently struggling, while fully manifested, mind you, awakened and fully manifested, mind you, with a bunch of cockroaches. Cockroaches? King of Curses. Cockroaches? King of... Like, these two are not in the same league. I don't think I need to convince you that this fellow right here is not in the same league as these cockroaches that were low-key giving Rika a bit of run for his money. Not his money, her money. Like, I don't think I need to convince you of that. But if that's still too much for you, need I remind you who Rika Orimoto, the Queen of Curses, in her awakened, or, well, fully eye-open state here, who she's really relative to. Remember who she was going bar for bar, blow for blow with. Yeah. Ryu Ishigori. In fact, this is a really, really good feat. Remember, there are 3 things in the entire... Well, 4. 4. Unfortunately, 4. But there are 4 things in the entire manga that harm Ryu Ishigori. It is his own blasts. It is Thin Icebreaker. It's Cleave, or presumably at this point, based on how we understand it, most likely Dismantle. And Rika's punches. Those are the only things that are ever able to really harm Ryu Ishigori to any decent degree. But the main issue is, it's not a complete dominant stomp for Rika. They exchange blows. They are relative. In fact, in this very chapter, we see them have a whole one-to-one exchange in the background. They are consistently, me. And they do this. And Ryu, while it is definitely worse for wear, it appears she only landed that 1 clean hit, as he only has damage from that 1 clean hit, which she off-guarded him with, because he was not expecting her to be this powerful, and she was. But that's even worse, because this same fellow right here, who's already able to damage Rika, gets a crazy statement, a wild Buku Banker statement, if you will. A single blow that was too much for even for... I swear I can read. A single blow that was too much for even... I can read, I swear. A single blow that was too much for Rika, even when completely manifested, would cause her to reach her limit. So, realistically, punches. Remember, he didn't hit her with a granite blast. He didn't hit her with a... Punches are too much for Rika when completely manifested from Ryu Ishigori, who she was going relative with in speed. I've seen some people say that, oh, she's a whole blitz tier above. She hit him once. Alright? She hit him once when he was not expecting it. And that's the only clean hit we ever see hit her land before he immediately swings back with maximum velocity and is actually able to knock her out of her manifestation. Rika is not a whole speed blitz tier above Ryu. You want to know who is a whole speed blitz tier above Ryu and hit him multiple times and took him out of here? Remember, it wasn't 1 finger. It wasn't 2 finger. It wasn't 3 finger. It wasn't 4 finger. It wasn't 5. It wasn't 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, but 15. 15 finger. Maguna. They can't bye. I don't like one of the 5. That may be too high. One of the that may also be too high a number. One of the 2. That's still, I don't know. I've seen maybe Quincha, but like I've rarely seen any Ryu love out there. I may be the 1 Ryu fan in existence, so this hurt me and me exclusively. But this did happen. 15 finger Maguna was able to casually and butterliciously clean straight through Ryu Ishigori, regardless of his defenses. And if you, in the of the common belief, which I don't even blame people for. In fact, I believe for the most part there are some weird things. I do need to make a whole video talking about finger scaling and my understanding of it currently and what it could mean. I made some videos talking about the fingers, but like fully in depth on like the variations between the different fingers of Sukuna and what they may mean and all the stuff that has to do with it. But presumably 20 is greater than 15. Or 19 plus Mummy is greater than 15. True Body plus Mummy plus 4 extra fingers is most likely superior to this Sukuna, who blitzed and one-tapped Ryu. Yeah. Rika, not cooking. At least not as she is right now. Not against the King of Curses. Against pretty much anybody else. Literally, almost like there's the only characters who I could solidly see just beasting on Rika if they were to have an extended 1v1 is a character like Ryu. And once again, this is exclusively Rika. Obviously, we see what happens when Rika and Yuta go up against Ryu. Ryu lost. But in terms of just Rika in a 1v1, She can't handle blows from Ryu while completely manifested. Seems like she would get beasted on. Gojo Satoru, she would get beasted on. Kashimo Hajime, that's kind of interesting. Lightning bolts, though. And, like, way faster. So, would most likely get beasted on. I think she does kind of beat Hikari. Probably. But that's the Hikari. People have been calling me a Hikari hater, and I don't think I am. Like, I believe he's stronger than Yuta. In terms of at least physical stats. I still think he'd lose, though. But, like, still, I'm not a Hikari hater. I promise. Pinky promise. But would that be the case? I think Hikari would lose. But there are definitely characters that Rika beasts on. But remember, she's not trying to beast on any character. She's trying to beast on the King of Curses. So in spite of her amazing scaling, her next level abilities, her crazy levels of potency, they're able to do things that only spatial manipulation attacks, things that hypothetically adjust to your durability. If you think Ryu got hit with cleave right here. Like, it depends if you think this is cleave or dismantle. His hand is kind of gripped like this, which is like in a claw formation, which is like you grab onto somebody's face and your hand will kind of look like this. But the thing is, they're so gripped and this hand looks so loose that I'm not sure if he actually touched them. I think this is just straight up a cleave. And also, well, no, this is also most likely just a dismantle. Cleave tends to go with like the, not checkerboard pattern, but kind of checkerboard pattern, the cross slashes. And this is very clearly 2 linear slashes. So I do genuinely believe that Sukuna just went, like, he did a little dancey dance around Ryu and him with 2 dismantles. So the things that got the Ryu's durability: spatial manipulation, his own attacks, dismantle, and Rika's punches. Obviously, clearly powerful, able to tag Ryu Shigori, go bar for bar, even with them struggle with some cockroaches. Rika's definitely like that, but we've got to buffer. We've got to make her better, but the question is how. Of course, there are 50 billion, trillion, nonillion, quintillion, omnidecillion ways you can buff Yuta. Just give him more techniques. Oh, that's wonderful. Oh, that's great. Oh, that's amazing. But the thing with Rika is, she should be stagnant, right? Like, there's no way she could evolve to get any stronger. Presumably, right? Like maybe there are ways that we could make the Queen of Curses even more powerful. So, the thing is, with Rika, right? The only thing she's lacking relative to this beefy old boy right here that's currently going bar for bar with her man. The main thing that Rika is lacking is speed and abilities. Notably, I am in the camp that Ryu would be able to tickle Sukuna if he landed a hit. If he landed a hit. That's the thing. We just never see Ryu land a hit. It's just very, very unfortunate. Ryu goes to swing, Sukuna blitzes him. And then, you know, blitzes him again before a Granite Blast or a regular blow can land. I think, you know, most likely, the guy with the highest output in history could damage Roman Sukuna. And Rika very clearly is relative to that output. Honestly, we literally see it verbatim. Like, they are exchanging blows with each other. And she does do decent damage to him, something that Yuta Okkotsu, a special grade sorcerer, was unable to do. So, I believe she has the power stat perfectly fine. In terms of durability, sure, it is kind of shocking that her fully manifested self wouldn't be able to take on blows from Ryu Ishigori, but like, yeah, she can regenerate. Presumably. She's a curse. She should be able to regrow hands and stuff like that if they were to hypothetically get cleaved or dismantled off. So, like, I think her durability is also fine. Plus, her innate regen is also just good enough. But there are 3 things that we need to buff on Rika. 1, her speed. 2, her hacks abilities. And 3, her battle IQ. Because I'm not gonna lie, I mean, I don't like cockroaches as much as the next person, but the fact that she literally saw her man get trapped in a 3-way domain expansion and literally did get nettled, shifted into high gear and everything, only to get distracted by some cursed energy reinforced cockroaches, clearly her mind's not there. Her mental, garbage, trash, doo-doo water. Like, it's clearly not up there to the point where she's going to be doing anything against Mr. Gigabrain over here. Like, arguably next to Kenjaku, the smartest character in the entire series, and who knows, maybe to a greater degree than Kenjaku, the most knowledgeable on Jujutsu in the entire series. At least in terms of combat applications. I'd say Kenjaku is definitely overall the wisest character with the most information on Jujutsu, but specifically in the case of, you know, Jujutsu being wielded proficiently in combat, Sukuna's the best with it. Clearly. By a long shot. Even with Kenjaku's amazing feats, they're just lesser feats of Sukuna's. From the Barrierless Domain, to the application of numerous techniques, to the switching between techniques, the utilization, well, not utilization, but the utilization of things like domain amplification. Like, there are definitely things that Sukuna just does better than anybody else. And Rika cannot be running around in cockroach mode. She can't get distracted if she notices a bird coming out of her peripheral and it's looking at you. Like, we're gonna need to buff that up. And the easiest way to do that, within the confines of the narrative, I'm not gonna say, like, fully, but essentially, you're gonna have to sack Rika Orimoto in terms of the remaining personality that's left in the husk that is fully manifested and partially manifested Rika. You can still keep the anger, because the beautiful thing about anger in Jujutsu Kaisen, as long as it's focused, it will make you stronger. And of course, Rika Orimoto, the whole thing about the Queen of Curse is that she does have a boundless amount of curse energy, but, you know, extra focus, extra malice will be very, very good, especially since Yuta Okkotsu seems to be very, very passive as an individual and doesn't seem to be giving into that rage, that hatred, that malice. So they'll just give you to the controller. Like, straight up. Almost in a similar vein, I'd say just verbatim like the Paths of Pain. And obviously, like the Ten Shadow Shikigami. Like, just make them just like that. Where they can be given explicit commands mentally and actively. We've seen Megumi use the Ten Shadows with just mental commands. How he commands the frogs to latch on to things. How he has the Divine Dog act without, you know, telling it to act. Obviously, Maharaga is an independent ideology, but it still is under the user's control to certain degrees with things like commands, both mentally and physically, and obviously any sort of direct communication. All that's wonderful. Give the same thing to Yuta through Rika. He can use her power and her strength way better than she can. So ultimately, giving the reins over to this guy is how you solve the battle IQ issue. What about the next issue? It's that speed. Oh, it's that speed. Here's the thing with Rika's speed. It's not garbage. It's not trash. It's not whack. It's not an insult to humanity, but once again, her most well, I'm not going to say complimentary rival, but basically her most complimentary rival, Perception Blitz. Bro didn't even see what happened to him, and we cannot have Rika at that level. She needs to have leveled up her speed. How? Once again, it's hard. It's hard. It goes into the whole issue kind of have with, like, well, can she get stronger? Like, if she's, what? Is she just going to reform herself to move faster through the air? Is she gonna get, like, jet wings or something? Like, I don't know exactly how you would make Rika faster. That's an issue. If we're gonna have to make her surrender control to Yuta in order to get a bigger battle IQ, and we don't know how to make her faster, but hypothetically by giving Rika access to a full battle IQ, what we could do is So, I got a question for you. What is Rika Orimoto? The husk of Rika Orimoto. Obviously, the original Rika Orimoto, the Queen of Curses, was a drastically powerful, vengeful curse spirit, right? But what is Rika Orimoto now? The one that we know of, the one that we interact with, the one that currently, at the end of 248, palms Sukuna's dome piece like he was a misbehaving child. What is that Rika? There's a bunch of contentious debate around this, and regardless, I don't blame people for it. And even the chapter where she gets reintroduced is quite vague with the implication. As we get this. Rika is Okkotsu's external curse technique. External curse technique, not internal curse technique. Rika is Okkotsu's external curse technique and can store cursed energy for him. Rika remained with him after Rika Orimoto passed away. While connected to Rika through his ring, the following are possible. Curse technique use. Rika's complete manifestation. Cursed energy supply from Rika. So, with this being the case, I'd say Rika, an external technique, is very, very similar to a Shikigami. So, we have an extremely powerful special grade sorcerer who has a very unique and useful ability that could be improved upon if it were to take the metric of a previous extremely powerful special grade sorcerer with a Shikigami that may have been transformed or elevated or yes, you know who I'm talking about. I'm talking about You Are Not That Yuki Tsukumo. We get the explanation way back when, chapter 205. Yep, that's my technique. I give myself virtual mass and call it Star Rage. And my technique turned the Shikigami Garuda into a cursed tool. Its Star Rage's only target besides me. So, This is something that can happen. And my technique turned the Shikigami Garuda into a curse tool. Now, if you think Rika's just a flat-out verbatim old-fashioned cursed spirit, that's fine. But, even with that being the case, there's a hypothetical vision. You may be seeing the vision, but let me lay it out nice and clear for you. You remember all them nice, juicy, scrumdiddlyumptious techniques that Mr. Okkotsu has access to? Things like, oh, something nice and juicy. Something like cursed speech. Things like, oh, something nice and thick and bubblicious. Something like, not that, but sky manipulation. Oh, all this juicy stuff, all this wonderful thing. And you know the fact that Yuta Okkotsu had an entire month to go out of his way to learn more and more techniques and prepare more and more. You even witness the extensions and evolutions of certain techniques like with your own Sukuna. So, ultimately, the way to buff Rika Orimoto, the husk of the woman who was finally set free, would be to give her techniques. Now, this could go in one of two ways. You could either go route number one, where she gets access to everything Yuta has access to, as a byproduct and essentially a copy of what Yuki did with Star Rage. She just gets the mimicry technique or the copy technique, and it's just laid out. She gets to do whatever Yuta can do with it. She can evidently sync with him if he's doing certain things, desync with him, and then bypass certain weaknesses that may come with the nature of Yuta Okkotsu relative to other characters. Because here's the thing, right? I'm in the camp that cursed speech is basically useless against Sukuna, specifically coming from Yuta, because of how much more powerful, how much cursed energy, how much danger would come from, you know, certain someone doing certain things. The danger comes from trying to talk to Sukuna and then Yuta's throat explodes. That's the main danger, because he has less cursed energy than Sukuna. But, oh no, if only we had a boundless Shikigami who had boundless cursed energy sealed away and is split in numerous fragments across creation itself. Interesting. Oh yeah, we do. Yeah. So like, just give Rika something like cursed speech. Suddenly cursed speech is effective on Sukuna again. Because what? What's the blowback going to do? Destroy her throat? She'll heal it. Is there going to be any blowback at all? She once again has infinite cursed energy. It kind of runs into the whole idea of like, you could just keep letting them all loose because there'd be no repercussion, at least not that Rika would most likely feel or experience. It's much more free-form with things like her speech. It's much more free-form things like skin manipulation. Essentially, the more and more techniques you pile on Rika, the better and better and better and better and better she'll become. And what weaknesses a technique may have will be compensated by her having unlimited cursed energy, making it endlessly efficient. So now, I will leave you with this. Imagine we open up 249, and Rika Orimoto is launching a hollow purple. But, with that being the case, those are my 3 thingamajigs that I think need to be buffed with Rika Orimoto in order for her to surpass the king of curses. She needs to be able to imbue herself with different techniques, be able to relinquish herself, will and all, to the much smarter being Yuta Okkotsu, and finally, the last thing she needs is a slightly bigger brain. Because heaven forbid, she does not have that to save her life. However, that's what I think. Please let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Is there any other way that you would buff Rika? Do you think my ideas even make sense within the context of what the narrative has established? Or do you think there's too much contradictory evidence against me in order to believe in this little narrative idea that I cooked up? Do you think that Rika deserves a buff? Please let me know all that and more in the comment section down below. I'd like to thank you so much for watching. Please make sure to leave a like, share, comment, and subscribe. Make sure to hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any videos that come to this channel. Also, I do happen to have a Patreon down below where you can support me for as low as $1 a month. Things like exclusive videos, early content, and more. You also now become a member to the channel for as low as $3 a month to get the same perks and more. Some of those perks include a live reaction to the very next chapter of Jujutsu Kaisen. Now, I thank you so much for watching once again, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. This is, in fact, gosh darn, you keep hiding. This is, in fact, that guy with a pencil writing off. I'd like to give a thank you to our $3 members for Connor Plays, Red Wolf 4765, Greyhound, and Akid's Void. I'd like to give another thank you to our $5 patrons Victor, Sean, RNG Master, Midnight Gemlord, Metal Solid Crisis, Kevin, Igneal, and Demix LND. I'd like to give another thank you to our $7 member Autumn's Morning Lazo. I'd like to give another thank you to our $7 member Autumn's Morning Lazo. I'd like to give another chunk of thank you to our $10 patrons, Robbie Uchiha, Joaquin, iDemokami, and China Doll 09. I'd like to give a fat, juicy, scrumdiddlyumptious thank you to our wonderful $25 member, Alex Ice Rose. I'd like to give another hefty, defty, trifty, nifty thank you to our $25 patron, Calvin Elder.